Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Radio Show, only on Financial News and Talk. Now live in studio, your host, local and national real estate expert and consumer advocate, Ron Siegel.
And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries as we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media. This is the show that connects the dots of confusion delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots so you know the actions you can take, how your family or business can benefit from current events. Most of all, thank you for joining me. Before we get into our intriguing content today, please join me in welcoming, well, actually, we got to wait until he checks in. It's Robert Mott is going to be checking in with us later in the broadcast, so he's not going to say hello to you right now. And within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message, and as your consumer advocate, I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Just remember, that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are no operators standing by. I am it.
Quiet, numbskulls. I'm broadcasting.
While I do have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan or plan to save you money, I personally work with you. Even if you don't have any needs today, save this number in your phone for future reference. 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And yes, of course, we are celebrating today. It is National Shrimp Day. I enjoy a little bit of shrimp. Basically, anytime I can have the opportunity is when I will enjoy a little shrimp. I'm a big fan of shrimp. Cajun style, little shrimp cocktail. Any of the above works for me. How about you? Where do you go for your best or your favorite shrimp? That is the question of the day today. To me, never get enough of it. Of course, and again, having beaten anorexia, you can probably tell that there's a lot of things that I never get enough of. There is a big question marks out there. Dow Jones Industrial Average down 15.88 right now. Oil up $1.63 per barrel. U.S. 10-year Treasury down 0.172, 2.383 is the U.S. 10-year Treasury right now. Amazing. Well, a lot of news yesterday. Late afternoon, the news came in that FBI Director Comey had been relieved of his duties. So that's not a real big surprise to anybody if you've really been watching. There was the question that comes out, obviously, all of the Main Street media, they've got all their henchmen out there. Chuck Schumer, obviously, Chuck Schumer's just an interesting sort of fellow because he doesn't know which side of he probably has a problem. And I know a lot of people are going to get upset with me when I say it, but when you sit on a fence, can you imagine how much that must hurt? I mean, it is unbelievable watching Chuck Schumer, how he can go up, he can change or direction quicker than a yo-yo. So in October, he's saying that Comey needs to go. Comey can't do the job. And when the president acts on that commentary, well, why'd you do that? You shouldn't have done that. That doesn't make sense. Why'd you do it now? Yet there's no reason not to. The answer to the question is really quite simple. When you look at who is Comey's boss? The President of the United States, yes, obviously, is the top dog, and he makes the final decisions. But Comey directly reports to Rod Rosenstein. Rod Rosenstein was appointed as a U.S. attorney by President Obama, ended up becoming the Deputy Attorney General with a 94-6 vote of the Senate confirming him. And Rosenstein just went into office the end of April. Yet here we are the first week or early part of May, and the president takes action on a memo sent to him by Rosenstein, and they're upset about it. Just baffles me how this can all be going on, and how the Democrats they never have anything positive to say. It simply amazes me. Now, I understand. I know people said that. Well, they said the same thing about President Obama when the Republicans were in office? Well, the Republicans were anti-policy, and they didn't waffle nearly as much. So that's the big issue right there. If they're not waffling as much, then, they were very straight on forward, less government, get out of the way, act appropriately. Well, we're not seeing that from the Democrats. Have nothing positive. They have no options for anything. Unbelievable. It just amazes me how they continue on the same track here. Moving right along, watching the global bond yields are lower this morning following the dovish comments by the European Central Bank President Draghi. And again, the news that President Trump fired FBI Director Comey might have helped a little bit. Just a little issues right there. Moving along is... Hey, you got to love this one. I like watching some of these reports that come through and seeing who's doing what and where. Schools are back in the mix again. I like this one. We're looking at, I believe it is Emory University. Emory University. They're saying that they are going to pay 100% of demonstrated financial need for undocumented students. Why aren't they paying 100% of demonstrated financial need for documented students? What's the deal there? I mean, obviously we deal with the demonstrated financial need. That's basically the number that comes from FAFSA. So why in the world would they be doing this only for undocumented? So if you break the law, come into the country illegally, then you can get 100% tuition free. Who's paying for that? Just saying, it's donors. Got to be first year, first degree seeking students according to the online description of the coming fall program. Just got to wonder about some of these. And something, if they can do that for everybody, what's the idea right there? Unbelievable. Now we're also dealing with at the same time, we're looking at another university making the news. This one is Fordham University. So here's a Catholic university that they wanted to have a Chick-fil-A on its New York City campus, but Fordham caved oppositions by the gay activists in the LGBTQ arena. Now, students want Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A is an honest, ongoing business. Catholic university, and they're rejected. Can't make this PC stuff up. I just report these things. Seems to me a bit interesting that they're having all these problems with these different universities and universities following the law. I guess that might be a new issue that we have to deal with on a regular basis. Are the universities going to follow the law? Are they not going to follow the law? And are there consequences? I can share this. If I had students, a youngster that was contemplating a new school, I'd be looking at what is the school's philosophy as much as anything else if I'm going to be the one paying for his or her tuition. I wonder how many parents are out there talking that way right now, and if that'll have an effect on what these schools are doing when they're coming into some of these different areas and what they're using. Just a thought for you right there. You are listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, we're going to be chatting with Robert Mott, who will be checking in with us about Wine Wednesday, a real estate best long-term investment for the last 4 years. We'll chat about that. Who said it? Where did that come from? We've got mortgage and real estate lingo. We'll chat about all of that today as well. And when the time comes for a reverse mortgage, what are you going to be doing? Do you know enough about it to even give your loved ones any guidance at all? We'll talk about all that and more. You can reach us anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Connect with us, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, on Twitter @Ron Siegel. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Are Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
What if your family business could help clothe a less fortunate family? Or your restaurant could feed truly hungry people? What if you could help to comfort the lonely? Plant sustainable resources where nothing has ever grown before? Or make a child's lifelong wish come true? What if all you had to do was simply do nothing more than what your business already does every day? Would you do it? Introducing Processing for a Cause, a unique program that turns a percentage of your business's credit card value into ongoing donation dollars for nonprofit organizations and foundations. Simply switch your credit card processing provider to Processing for a Cause and begin supporting a worthy cause today. The process is simple, and the cause will change lives forever. Processing for a Cause.
Are you a veteran, own a home, and need money? The Siegel Lending Team is here to help veterans refinance and get the money they need. The VA 100 lets you borrow up to 100% of your home's value, refinance your mortgages, consolidate credit cards, and lower your payments by an average of $700 a month. And the Siegel Lending Team knows that character means more than a credit score. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporations, NMLS 21037, and DRE number 018694452.
Are you a veteran, police officer, firefighter, doctor, nurse, or teacher? If so, you qualify as one of Ron Siegel's VIP heroes, and we have rewards up to $5,000 or $10,000 when you buy, sell, or refinance a home with one of the Ron Siegel radio partners. As one of the heroes, real estate agents will rebate part of their commission. Lending partners will give a credit at closing. The title company has special published rates, and many other service providers have incentives too. All you need to do is call Ron Siegel Radio at 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit VIPHeroProgram.com. Just think about what you will do with all the rebates and incentives from the partners of Ron Siegel Radio. Just call us at 800-306-1990 so we can show you our appreciation for your service.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message, and as your consumer advocate, I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990. The Word on Wealth segment today being brought to you by AskAboutReverseMortgages.com. Are you 62 years of age or older, have some equity in your property? Maybe you have some cash and want to buy a new house? The reverse mortgage might be right for you. When the time comes, there's a big misconception out there about reverse mortgages. Number one, nobody's taking your house. That's a 1980s program that no longer exists. You keep all the equity in your property. It's just simply a lien on the property where the interest could, if you wish, be added to the principal balance. Now, if you don't want it to, it doesn't have to, but you've got a built-in line of credit if you set it up properly so that for the rest of your life there's no mortgage payments required, and you might even get some money back out of your property on a regular basis or have liquidity from your equity. I was looking at a recent article from the Economic Policy Institute. The average household aged 56 to 61 years old has amassed a $163,577 nest egg. Pretty frightening. Over the course of a 20-year retirement, $163,577 amounts to just $8,178 a year or $681 a month of income. That means these people will be looking everywhere for retirement funds. One of those places is the equity in their homes. And reverse mortgages are an attractive option. Start with them as early as you can. You can think about this. What other loan is out there? What other investment vehicle is out there where you can manage your taxes? You can pay them now or pay them later or get a tax deduction now or later. You have liquidity. You have management of your Social Security benefits. Remember, the later you take the Social Security benefits up until age 70, they're going to be growing at 8% a year. The reverse mortgage can help you with managing that as well. You can protect your 401k and your IRA payouts. All different benefits of a good strategic plan of using the equity in your property. That is the Word on Wealth segment, again brought to you by AskAboutReverseMortgages.com. Red wine means it is time for our Wednesday morning chat with Robert Mott. Good morning, Robert.
Good morning, Ron. How are you today?
Doing wonderful, doing wonderful. I'm seeing some questions come out, and I figured, well, maybe now's the time to check with Robert Mott on this one. The difference between sulfates and sulfites, other than an A and an I.
Well, that's the obvious difference, of course. I think the reason these things get this question comes up a lot is that you see that thing on the line label that says contains sulfites, which is obviously it's a government regulation that's enforced by the TTB, Taxation Trade Board, when they approve labels for wine bottles. It gets a lot of attention because there are a lot of people out there that think they're allergic to sulfites or sulfur compounds who probably aren't, but there are some people, of course, that are deathly allergic to sulfites, and it's generally kind of a 0-1 proposition. In other words, you're really not allergic to them, or you're so allergic that you're probably aware of it, and if you happen to consume them, you really need to go to the hospital kind of thing. So, but they both get a lot of attention. They're both sulfur-based compounds. Sulfates are salts of sulfuric acid, and you probably encounter them on a daily basis. Sodium lauryl sulfate is a strong detergent that aids in removing grease by binding oil to water. Not to get too boring in chemistry or anything like that for everybody, but you see that in your kind of normal dish soaps that you see on the edge of your sink, and some body washes and some shampoos as well. Make sure your hair kind of squeaky clean, so to speak. There's some products like that are sulfate free, etc. But anyway, so not to confuse the issue further, they're generally what you consider to be sulfates. Sulfites, on the other hand, are a naturally occurring compound found in all wine. Now, let me rephrase that. It's found in all wine. Anytime you have a fermentation process, sulfites occur naturally, and just so people know that. Now, there is a threshold which that wineries or wine labels have to meet. I can't remember how many parts per million it is before you're required to contain sulfites on the label. But the threshold is so very low that it basically, if you've gone through a normal fermentation process, it'd be above that threshold. But they also act as a preservative, so they're not a bad thing. Sulfites are not a bad thing, unless you are, of course, allergic to them. But they act as a preservative. They inhibit microbial growth. So all those little bacterium that are hanging around and things of that nature that would cause that vinegar reaction, for instance, that could turn wine to vinegar. Sulfites are the thing that basically stabilizes wine and keeps it from going bad. So again, generally a very good thing in wine. They're generally harmless, like I've said before. They're found in all kinds of things. They're found in molasses. They're found in dry fruit, and things of that nature. Now, obviously, as a total disclaimer here, some people are, like I said before, deathly allergic to this. Generally, the people who are asthmatic to begin with, and if they have that allergic reaction, they need one of those very expensive EpiPens to keep from getting really sick. So that's why you see the warning on the label about sulfides. But fortunately, there's a lot of confusion around that. Some folks that get headaches after drinking wine or flushing after drinking wine often wrongly blame sulfides because of that warning on the label. So it does cause a lot of confusion. And obviously, I apologize to everybody for kind of getting into the chemistry of it. But the main thing is they're naturally occurring. But some winemakers do add a little extra sulfur dioxide to the mix, again, to further stabilize the wine and hold off that reaction that would normally naturally turn wine to vinegar. So it's good in moderation in a wine environment, and it keeps our wines hanging in there for a long time.
Interesting information there. Okay, so as long as now that I know that I'm not allergic to it, I know it's all good stuff for me. It's the bottom line. Seems apparent. So appellation, there's another one. Appellation, region, subregion, village. What's that all about, this appellation stuff?
Yeah, it's kind of all of those things you mentioned. The appellation is a little bit of everything. It really depends on how it's used and where it's used. Broadly, an appellation is a legally defined and protected area. The term is mostly used in relation to where wine grapes are grown. But there can be other uses as well. I've heard of appellation-specific chocolate or coffee, for example. Coffee, there's a lot of gourmet coffees, in particular appellations, maybe in Colombia or wherever. But each country, excuse me, each individual country determines what defines an appellation. And in some cases, a wine is not allowed to list the appellation unless other standards are met, such as what grapes are grown in that particular area or how the wine is actually made. In the United States, official appellations are called American Viticulture Areas, and you may have heard them referred to as AVAs. Pretty straightforward. 85% of the wine must come from the AVA listed on the label. It can get a little more precise because there are AVAs and sub-AVAs. For instance, the Napa Valley AVA, for example, has more than a dozen smaller defined AVAs within itself, like Oakville, Rutherford, the Russian River Valley and Chalk Hill, for instance, are AVAs within Sonoma County AVA, and so on and so forth. So it can get a little confusing. Appellations get a little more complicated in European countries. That's the one and I'll touch on France a little bit because that's one we in the wine business we generally deal with maybe a little bit more often than some of the others. They're the appellations d'origine control, basically. I'm not saying it in the proper French because I really don't speak French all that well. But you can think of it as, for short, it's AOC system. Anyway, it has rules about what grape varieties can be used, the ripeness, the minimum alcohol levels, and even how dense a vineyard can be planted or how much it can yield. The appellation refers not just where the grapes are grown, but what kind of wine it is. So for instance, if you see on the wine it says Bordeaux on it, and it has the AOC label, or it has Burgundy on it, you know that, for instance, in Bordeaux, it's going to be one of the 5 current approved Bordeaux varietals, Cabernet Merlot, Cabernet Franc, Malbec, and Petit Verdot. And likewise, when you see something that says Burgundy on it, you're pretty 100% for sure that it's Pinot Noir is the variety of grapes that went into the wine. So, there are very specific rules associated with each of those AOCs within France. And likewise, some of the other European countries have similar rules as well, not generally as complex as the French rules, but that's one of the things that kind of the whole appellation thing. But it tells you, the good news about appellations, once you learn them, it tells you a lot about how the wine was made, what grapes went into it, and can give you a big hint of what the character of the wine is going to be like.
So does that go into anything where we talk about how long we might want to save wine? I mean, because if you go into a certain appellation or wherever you're going to collect wine, like I just came back from Paso Robles, and you find some great wines that you really enjoy. You buy them, then you wonder, when should I start drinking them? How long should I be holding them in the collection, or are they just ready to start to hit the glass right now today? How do I know these things?
It's really hard to tell. It's a matter of personal preference as much as anything else. within the same appellations, just like, for instance, I'm going to refer to Napa Valley, you may get, even within the same varietal of wine, a Cabernet Sauvignon, you may see all kinds of ageability possibilities there in the wines that you see. You see some that really should be drunk as soon as possible. You see some that might be better a few years from now, and some that might be better a few years after that. But again, depending on your own personal preference and your own taste buds. So really no hard and fast rules there. I mean, generally speaking, the French Bordeaux tend to be a little bit more age-worthy, but there are some people like me who might enjoy them as soon as they come out, for instance. So it's just really depends, and I know everybody hates that answer, it depends, but in this case, it truly depends.
Okay, so last topic I want to get into with you is it's a very, very timely one. Throw this out at you. Mother's Day coming up this weekend. What are we drinking? What are we enjoying for Mother's Day when we talk about like brunch? We're talking about Eggs Benedict, and we're talking about sweets and desserts and things like that.
Yeah, so it brings up all kinds of possibilities. I think when you talk about brunch or breakfast and Mother's Day, you know what my first answer is going to be, because I have this answer all the time.
I know we're going bubbly, Robert. We're going bubbly.
Ask me a question like this. My first answer is going to be, there's nothing wrong with champagne or a good sparkling wine to start with, and I would include some of the non-domestic sparkling wines as well, as like a nice Cava Prosecco or something along those lines. Something light, something a little bit, maybe a little less serious, even if it's a brunch environment, or maybe you're having it, like you say, with Eggs Benedict or something like that. Something, kind of gives that afternoon, early afternoon kind of compatibility. The other would be a nice light French rosé, maybe from Provence or something like that, relatively low alcohol. It's really probably bad form to get your mother all looped completely looped before 5 o'clock probably. Another possibility that I would recommend people think about, again, it's not everybody's cup of tea, but Moscato, generally slightly sweet, a little orange characteristic to it, with a few light bubbles in it. That'd be a great choice for a breakfast wine, so to speak. But kind of any kind of lightweight wine like that that's a little bit whimsical in nature, that has the possibility of bridging that gap in the kind of breakfast food. And if you really get serious about dessert, I might think about a Sauterne or a late harvest white wine with anything other than chocolate, of course.
So we got to go with, what are we going with chocolate then?
I'm sorry, say again, please.
What are we going with, the chocolate cake or the chocolate chip cookies after breakfast?
Well, chocolate. The tradition would say a port with chocolate, maybe a tawny port or something like that might be a good choice. I personally like the rubies myself, but if you have to have chocolate, hard to beat a port with chocolate.
Great information as always. Now we know what we're drinking for Mother's Day. Robert Mott checks in with us every Wednesday morning, so don't miss out on that. You are listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, real estate, best long-term investment 4 years running. Who said that one? And we're going to talk about the mortgage pre-approval checklist. We'll get into that as well. You can reach us anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Connect with us, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, on Twitter, at Ron Siegel. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Siegel Lending Team offers you buying power. Let's say you can afford a monthly mortgage payment, including principal and interest, of around $1,900. With today's rate on a 30-year fixed mortgage of 3.75%, APR 3.85%, that payment could support a $416,000 mortgage. But if you wait and rates tick up to around 6.5%, which is roughly the average home mortgage rate over the past 30 years, that same $1,900 mortgage payment, including principal and interest, may only be able to support a $314,000 mortgage. That's over $100,000 worth of home you're missing out on by waiting. That's buying power. All you need to do to get started is reach out to the Siegel Lending Team at 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Or visit SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Pay sample excludes taxes and insurance. Call us for full details, 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990 or SiegelLendingTeam.com. Equal housing lender, licensed under NMLS number 217037.
Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Are you purchasing or own a luxury home? If you're like so many others, your home is your largest asset and the mortgage is your largest debt. The Siegel Lending Team has some amazing financing opportunities right now. Jumbo loan, $2 million, 30-year rates below 4%, 15-year rates near 3.5%, and if you can believe it, 7-year interest-only hybrids in low 3s. The Siegel Lending Team has all the options for your jumbo or second home loan requirements. Take advantage of them while you can. To learn more about all the other financing products available from the Siegel Lending Team, call 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Again, call 1-800-306-1990. Rates subject to change notice. Licensed by NMLS ID 217037 and 145502. Equal housing lender.
Do you own real estate or have assets over $150,000? Do you know one of your heirs will be the probate courts and the IRS? If you don't have a living trust, you will go through probate. Call Heritage Financial Services toll free at 1-855-434-7400 for a free review. Check us out on Facebook, Heritage Financial Service in Lake Forest, California. That's 1-855-434-7400. Again, 1-855-434-7400.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message, and as your consumer advocate, I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, the real-time real estate segment. Being brought to you by the area-trusted real estate professionals of Ron Siegel Radio. Text NEST, N-E-S-T, to 79564. Find your dream home before someone else does. Gallup coming out saying real estate is the best long-term investment 4 years in a row, every year. Gallup surveys Americans to determine their choice for the best long-term investment. Respondents are given a choice between real estate, stocks, and mutual funds, gold, savings accounts, CDs, or bonds. For the 4th year in a row, real estate has come out on top as the best long-term investment. This year's results showed that 34% of Americans chose real estate, followed by 26% stocks. Gold was 18%, savings accounts and CDs 13%, bonds 5%. The study makes it a point to draw attention to the contrast of the sentiment over the last 4 years compared to that of 2011-2012, when gold took the top slot with 34% of the votes. Real estate and stocks took second and third place respectively, while still in recovery from the Great Recession. The bottom line, as the real estate market has recovered, so has the belief of the American people in the stability of housing as a long-term investment. And then when you throw on top of that the benefits that you're going to get in real estate from, quite simply, leverage. See, a lot of times they look at return on investment as the total investment. You bought a house for $500,000. But what if you made 5% of that $500,000? That's your return on investment, $25,000. But if you only put 10% down, $50,000 on that, and you got a $25,000 return, your return on cash is significantly larger than what might have been reported otherwise. Just a thought for you to remember when you are looking at some of these different numbers. So one of the things I thought would be important, and I started mentioning this last week, and we just didn't have enough time to really deal with it, but if you're out there shopping for a home, do you understand the lingo, the language of home buying? And it can be intimidating if you're not familiar with the terms used during the process. So start on your path with confidence. I've got a list of some of the most common terms used when buying a home. So Freddie Mac has compiled a more exhaustive glossary of terms in their My Home section of their website. But here's a few that I'll share with you. The annual percentage rate, APR. This is a broader measure of your cost for borrowing money. The APR includes the interest rate, points, broker fees, and certain other credit charges a borrower is required to pay. Because these costs are rolled in, the APR is usually higher than your interest rate. I just look at this as a cursory number. It's nothing that's that urgent to worry about, because what you really want to do is look at your interest rate and look at the dollars of your costs. When they roll it in here, maybe one company is using one set of numbers built into the APR, another company is using another set of numbers. I want your mortgage interest rate, and then what are the dollars and cents of the cost, because you can't change those. When you put all the costs in there in dollars and cents, it's straightforward. Appraisal. That's a professional analysis used to estimate the value of the property. This includes examples of sales of similar properties. This is a necessary step in getting your financing secured, as it validates the home's worth to you and your lender. Now, you get to determine what the home is worth to you. And it's very simple to understand value. The value of a piece of property is what a willing buyer is willing to pay a willing seller. Buyer and seller determines what the value of the property is. Now the lender, they want an independent appraisal to validate their collateral, because that way they don't have an emotional charge to it. The appraiser has certain guidelines that they must follow, and they're going to take your property, look at the specifics of it, they're going to visit your property, they're going to take pictures of the property, and then they're going to look and see what has sold in the past, most recently, in the most close proximity to your property, and they're going to make the adjustments. So the adjustments might be for plus or minus bedrooms, plus or minus square footage, plus or minus condition. Is there a view? Is there not a view? Is there a pool? No pool? All these different things go into what the appraiser is going to value the property at. They're going to value the collateral for the lender. Closing costs. These are costs to complete the real estate transaction. These costs are in addition to the price of the home and are paid at closing. They include points, taxes, title insurance, financing costs, items that must be prepaid or escrowed, and other costs. You can ask your lender for a complete list of closing costs items. When you add the closing costs to your down payment, that's when you come up with the term cash to close. Closing costs plus down payment. Now, you can have a great lender who negotiates seller credits or lender credits to help offset closing costs. That's a whole different issue. Credit score, which is also known as the FICO score, a number ranging from 300 to 850 that is based on an analysis of your credit history. Your credit score plays a significant role when securing a mortgage, as it helps lenders determine the likelihood that you'll repay future debts. The higher your score, the better, but many buyers believe they need at least a 780 score to qualify, when in actuality, over 55% of approved loans had a score below 750. Over 55% below 750. Discount points. A point equals 1% of your loan. 1 point on a $200,000 loan equals $2,000. You can pay points to buy down your mortgage interest rate. It's essentially an upfront interest payment to lock in a lower rate for your mortgage. I hear a lot of people saying, oh, I don't ever want points. But what if you need to pay points to get the interest rate down so that you qualify to get your payment where you need it to be? Or if you plan on staying in a property an extended period of time, you might want to pay points because it might just make sense in your situation. Don't ever say, I don't want to do something just because you've heard it on the street, and analyze it for your own situation. Down payment. This is a portion of the cost of your home that you pay up front to secure the purchase of the property. Down payments are typically 3 to 20% of the purchase price of the home. There are zero down payment programs available through VA loans for veterans, as well as USDA loans for rural areas of the country. 80% of first-time buyers put less than 20% down. I think the last number I saw, 14%, were doing 6% down. Escrow, the holding of money or documents by a neutral third party before closing. It can also be an account held by the lender or servicer into which homeowner pays money for taxes and insurance. So that one can be kind of confusing because there are two usages for the same term, escrow. So you can have an escrow company, again, that's the neutral third party that brings all the documents together. They don't do anything other than adhere to the contract that's agreed to by all parties. They're like the referee or the umpire. They're just the intermediary who enforces the rules. And again, the other side of it is the escrow account, which can be the account where you're going to pay your impound account, your prepaid escrow fees, or property insurance fees, prepaid insurance fees, all of that goes in there. We're going to continue our conversation on the real estate lingo when we come back. You are listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. We'll also talk about a pre-approval checklist for your mortgage when we come back. A lot to still chat about. Remember, you can reach us anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990 or RonSiegelRadio.com. Connect with us, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, on Twitter @Ron Siegel. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area-trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Isn't it time you found out the truth about FHA-insured home equity conversion? No, it's not your grandfather's reverse mortgage. This just may be the finest financial planning strategy available for all homeowners of retirement age. Helping protect what you've earned is the job of your board of directors with continued education. Major research has shown that using a HECM will significantly enhance the success rate of a retiree's portfolio and legacy. Please allow us to educate. For your complimentary consultation, call Jay Kaplan at 949-300-3855. That's 949-300-3855.
Are you currently renting a home? Do you like paying someone else's mortgage payment? Why not explore the options to purchase your own home? Can you imagine a 30-year fixed-rate loan below 4.25% APR? This means with $10,500, you can purchase a $295,000 home and have a principal and interest payment of about $1,400 per month. What are you paying in rent? Does your family deserve the opportunity to take advantage of the current market? To learn more about these exciting opportunities, the Siegel Lending Team is standing by to speak with you. Call now, 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com or 1-800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by NMLS ID 217037 and 145502. Equal housing lender. Not endorsed or sponsored by any government agency.
Do you have a goal of mortgage-free home ownership? What if your home was valued at $500,000? Are you aware that a free and clear home could be costing you $2,500 every month, $30,000 per year? The mortgage planners at the Siegel Team would like to show you how you can own your home, generate tax-free income, and accumulate family wealth. You simply need to call the Ron Siegel Team at 1-800-306-1990. That is 1-800-306-1990. By sending the team a copy of your most recent mortgage statement, the team will send you a no-obligation real estate You be the judge if this is right for your family. Again, all you have to do is send the team a copy of your mortgage statement by email to reap@ronsiegelradio.com or call today. Ron Siegel, 1-800-306-1990. That is 1-800-306-1990.
Rate subject to change and without notice. Licensed by the California DOC and BRENMLS 217037 and 145502 and Cal BRE 0186945 and 1.
Siegel Lending Team offers you buying power. Let's say you can afford a monthly mortgage payment, including principal and interest, of around $1,900. With today's rate on a 30-year fixed mortgage of 3.75%, APR 3.85%, that payment could support a $416,000 mortgage. But if you wait and rates tick up to around 6.5%, which is roughly the average home mortgage rate over the past 30 years, that same $1,900 mortgage payment, including principal and interest, may only be able to support a $314,000 mortgage. That's over $100,000 worth of home you're missing out on by waiting. That's buying power. All you need to do to get started is reach out to the Siegel Lending Team at 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Or visit SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Payment example excludes taxes and insurance. Call us for full details. 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990 or SiegelLendingTeam.com. Equal housing lender, licensed under NMLS 17037.
Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area-trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. And all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Are you purchasing or own a luxury home? If you're like so many others, your home is your largest asset and the mortgage is your largest debt. The Siegel Lending Team has some amazing financing opportunities right now. Jumbo loans up to $2 million, 30-year rates below 4%, 15-year rates near 3.5%, and if you can believe it, 7-year interest-only hybrids in low 3s. The Siegel Lending Team has all the options for your jumbo or second home loan requirements. Take advantage of them while you can. To learn more about all the other financing products available from the Siegel Lending Team, call 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Again, call 1-800-306-1990. Rates subject to change without notice. Licensed by NMLS ID 217037 and 145502. Equal housing lender.
Do you own real estate or have assets over $150,000? Do you know one of your heirs will be the probate courts and the IRS? If you don't have a living trust, you will go through probate. Call Heritage Financial Services toll-free at 1-855-434-7400 for a free review. Check us out on Facebook, Heritage Financial Service in Lake Forest, California. That's 1-855-434-7400. Again, 1-855-434-7400.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message, and as your consumer advocate, I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990. The Mortgage Minute today being brought to you by Gold Star Mortgage when you're ready for that next mortgage. Gold Star has the programs, the products available for you. If you're buying a home, it's a good idea to get pre-approved. Maybe the Fast Pass pre-approval is what you really need. That way you'll know roughly how much banks are willing to lend you, and you won't get your heart set on a property that's outside of your budget. But what do you need to get pre-approved? Well, here's a checklist that will help you get your papers in order if you're buying your first home. Number one, you need copies of your ID. You'll need a copy of your driver's license and social security card in some instances, maybe a passport. Pay stubs, unless you're planning to pay for your mortgage entirely with a gift or from money you have in checking and investment accounts, you'll need to provide proof of your income in the form of pay stubs. If you work for yourself, you can provide your profit and loss statement for your business. If you're getting a gift for your down payment, get a letter to that effect. Tax returns and W-2s or 1099s, you're going to need those for the last couple of years. Bank statements, you're going to need those for the last 2 full months. Retirement account statements, planning to borrow from your 401k or for your down payment. If so, you'll want to show the bank how much you have in your retirement account. You might also want to use that for reserves. Investment account statements. Do you have taxable investment accounts? Funds that aren't in a retirement account? If so, include those statements too. That money is an asset that the bank will view favorably. Proof of rent and or reference from your landlord. This one isn't a must, but it can help your cause. If you already own a home, add a mortgage statement, property tax bills, insurance statements. If you've been divorced, you're going to need a copy of a divorce decree as well. Just a few of the documents. There's a checklist. If you need a copy of the checklist, give me a call at 800-306-1990. We do have a full checklist that we put out at the Siegel lending team. Just make it easy so everybody understands exactly the documentation needed. That is the Mortgage Minute, again brought to you by Gold Star Mortgage. Going back to our home buying lingo. So, fixed rate mortgages, a mortgage with an interest rate that does not change for the entire term of the loan. Fixed rate mortgages, generally 15 or 30 years. There are adjustable rate mortgages as well. My favorite is the 7-year fixed. So it's fixed for 7 years, amortized over 30, but adjusts on the 8th year and each year thereafter. That's one of my favorites. Home inspection, a professional inspection of a home to determine the condition of the property. The inspection should include an evaluation of plumbing, heating and cooling systems, roof, wiring, foundation, and pest infestation. This is one that's a touchy subject to me because it's the one area within the home buying process that is not regulated. So even an individual like me who does not know which end of a screwdriver to use could be a home inspector. I want you to make sure you get a recommendation for a home inspector or go to somebody that's a member of a organization of home inspectors so that you know what you're getting there. Mortgage rate, the interest rate you pay to borrow money to buy your house. The lower the rate, the better. Interest rates for a 30-year fixed rate mortgage have hovered between 4 and 4.25 most of this year. A pre-approval letter is a letter from a mortgage lender indicating that you qualify for a mortgage of a specific amount. It also shows a home seller that you're a serious buyer. Having a pre-approval letter in hand while shopping for homes can help you move faster and with greater confidence. Remember, Gold Star's Fast Pass pre-approval allows you to go out and buy a home with no loan contingency. So that one's even better than a pre-approval letter. Private mortgage insurance, PMI. You might also hear MIP, mortgage insurance premium. MIP is that which you find on the FHA loan. Private mortgage insurance is just that, private. If you make a down payment lower than 20% on your conventional loan, your lender will require, in most instances, PMI, typically at a rate of 0.51%. PMI serves as an added insurance policy that protects the lender if you're unable to pay your mortgage and can be canceled from your payment once you reach 20% equity in your home. Again, we can chat personally if you have some questions further on that. Real estate professional, an individual who provides services in buying and selling homes. Real estate professionals are there to help you through the confusing paperwork, to help you find your dream home, to negotiate any of the details that come up, and to help make sure that you know exactly what's going on in the housing market. Real estate professionals can refer you to local lenders and mortgage brokers. Here's my thought on that part of this. Always start with the real estate, with the lending side. I'm a big proponent. You want to get your lender in place before you start dealing with the real estate professional. Your lender is going to have a relationship. In fact, most good lenders have a relationship with a great real estate professional. So the idea there is if you're going out and finding the lender first, you're going to have a lot less headaches in that event. And what I mean by a lot less headaches is you find your lender, you get pre-approved, or you go with the Fast Pass pre-approval that's from Gold Star. Then you're going to go shop for homes that you can actually afford. Because when you go out and start shopping for properties that you cannot afford, that's when you start getting yourself into problems. You're going to start looking at homes that are outside your budget. You're going to get excited, or your wife or your husband is going to get excited about a property. And I promise you, when you start looking at $600,000 homes on a $400,000 budget, you're not going to be excited when you see those $400,000 homes. And you should be excited. It's an exciting time in your life and in your journey. So I'm going to suggest to you, take seriously getting pre-approved with a great lender ahead of time, and know what your budget is, know what you can afford. And as always, the key to the whole thing is listen to Ron Siegel Radio every single day. Set that first radio preset button to come back and join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. Thanks to all of our sponsors. A big thanks to John, who's engineering us today. And, of course, a special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions or to meet any of our guests, call me anytime. 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. And remember, make a lot of money, help a lot of people, have a lot of fun. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.